Hello, viewers. Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. I've been watching things coming forward over why was Mike Pence recalled. I wanted to jump on because I've had some insights. Now, it could have been anything really from, you know, this backdrop of war in Iran or moving toward war with Iran. It could have been something to do with the census. Of course, we had all that blow up yesterday, and that's what Trump was tweeting about. It could have been something to do with a congressional investigation, but I actually feel this was to do with one of the Mueller investigations. So when I tuned into this reading, I saw obviously the emperor sitting on his throne. We know that's Donald Trump. He was covering himself with his robe, suggesting he needed protection or was trying to protect himself. I then saw him offering something to Pence. I'm not sure what that was, but he was recalled because I feel, this is my impressions, my intuitive impressions, my clairvoyant impressions, that they received a document from the investigators asking for more information. And so Pence was called back then. I'm assuming there was an offer there to him. So what was going on there? So I went straight to the inauguration investigation, and that Pence was in charge of the transition team and, of course, those donations. That is being investigated by the SDNY. And if this information request had been received, why was Pence needed there? Potentially, could it have been to get one story straight? Let's see what the cards are going to say about this. Let's give the cards a good shuffle and then bring the laptop down. This is what we're all wondering. The news media is not getting much on it. Tarot readers have come forward with a variety of reasons and psychics as to why Pence was called, and I'm contributing my impressions to the whole here and to see exactly what we can glean. So we'll just ignore that phone call there. Why was Pence called back to the White House? Why was Pence called back to the White House? Pence called back to the White House. Why was Pence called back? Okay, let's have a look. Why was he called back? I always like to see what's on the bottom of the deck. It gives us a really good indication. Temperance, balancing, negotiation. Okay, so again, I feel I'm getting this draw to there was an information request. Pence was called back to make sure the story was consistent in some way. Page of Wands, communication as a signifier card. I feel that that my tarot, well, at this point, I feel that this is what tarot is going to tell us. There was some sort of communication received by the White House to do, here's our emperor with his clothes here. He's got his robe drawn across his chest, which is what I saw in that clairvoyant vision. Almost that, like an armor here, protection of the chest, protection of the solar plexus. This was to ensure that Pence was loyal to him as well, given this particular communication. With the Seven of Swords, it's definitely around one of those investigations, and it's around what was taken. So what was taken by the Trump organization in relation to those inauguration funds. These are my impressions. Okay, there is a lot of evidence there with these Ten of Wands, and it's quite hard for them. I'll just bring the laptop down. It is quite hard for them to manage the weight of evidence, and almost could even be a subpoenaing here as well. What was this piece of paper? Okay, the Knight of Cups. Here's the offer that I saw was made to Pence with this Knight of Cups. The Queen of Swords is suggesting an investigator here who's heading up that investigation in SDNY. Is it Letitia James? This is an investigator here and come forward with this, whatever this communication was, asking for more information. It was quite cutting. It was quite to the point. This is someone who actually is there to win here. This is also Congress. I wonder how Congress might have been involved in this in any way. But I'm getting an inauguration here. There is something to do with an investigation, a piece of communication that was received. Pence was called back to try and get the story straight. Here we have our Queen of Cups that's appearing again, telling us that this was quite significant because there is much to be revealed with this Queen of Cups. Women, interesting. Again, this surprise news. So, and again, an offer. It actually derailed them when it was received. It came out of the blue. It was unexpected. It actually put them into a bit of a spin. Hence the reason why they were called back. Pence was called back. There was a panic almost. Now the hopes and fears here. This again is a win here by the Democrats. So I'm not ruling out that it wasn't a piece of paper sent to the White House on behalf of the House, one of those investigations, but I am, because it involved Pence. I'm going to the inauguration as well, and I do believe actually, I have to say, I do believe that Congress. Viewers, if you can chase this down, let me know. But I do think that there are congressional investigations into that inauguration. Some readers take this as a White House card or a Mar-a-Lago card. Wherever these kind of alleged breaches have occurred, it's can be at the White House, can be at Mar-a-Lago with the various things that have been going on there and the various investigations. But I feel this is something to do with the inauguration. I'm feeling that quite strongly. So it could be SDNY, but it could also be the congressional investigation as well. It's something very, very significant with this world card coming through here. It's an ending, a potential ending and a beginning. So what it was very, very I guess the whatever they received, whatever communication they received was quite critical. And here we go. Here I'm getting again. It has something to do with money. It has something to do with loans, debts, taking money, giving and receiving money, handing out money. Interesting. Yep, and there's a loss here. So it could also be that something was taken away from an allocation as to where it should have been going. So if this was the inauguration, it could be where were those funds supposed to go to? Why didn't they go there? Now, I haven't seen the Ten of Pentacles, which would be my Trump organization card. As we know, the Ivanka and was in charge of the inauguration funds, but, well, not in charge of them, but she was involved in the organisation of Trump's inauguration. Interesting. Transition, inauguration. It's to do with money. It's to do with some sort of communication that they've received, and it was quite an emotional time at when Pence was recalled. There was a degree of panic, and there was a need to make a plan for the longer term here. Yeah, because to avoid the loss. Okay, so. Yeah, very insecure about whatever came forward. All right, so that's my read on this. He was called back because he could or had the ability to corroborate, to support, to get a story straight. After a piece of communication was received, to do with these investigations, these handoff Mueller investigations and the congressional investigations, which actually do mirror in a lot of ways these handed off investigations, including to SDNY, the inauguration and the transition, and of course we know Pence was front and centre there. It did set the cat amongst the pigeons. I'm just going to ask if this, because there has the potential for loss, I want to see if they're covering these things up here, if there is a cover-up, or if this matter, we will hear more about this matter. Because if the communication was received, then it potentially could have been something like a subpoena, which would mean it would go before the courts. So, okay, is this matter strong enough to bring Trump down? Is this matter strong enough to bring Trump down? I'm hearing the word revelation, and we've got justice flying out. So I'll keep that as the signifier card. Is this matter enough to really bring Trump down, to wound him, to, let's have a look. Let's just quickly pull a few cards and then we'll ask if they're trying to cover up. Is this a matter that could damage Trump quite, and Pence as well? Is this a matter that could damage the Trump regime? All right, let's have a pull of these cards. It will be shocking. It will be surprising news. It has to do with justice. It has to do, now you saw how much I shuffle off, sometimes shuffle the characters off my cards. It is around something that was taken that shouldn't have been taken, or something that was allocated that shouldn't have been, or appropriated that shouldn't have been appropriated. And there's a lot of evidence. So what's on the bottom? Yeah, they have to make these decisions, and these decisions are really being driven by the seriousness of this matter. Okay, this is something to do with justice. Right, let's see if they're going to try and cover it up. There's certainly the strategizing that's going on. In fact, there were more than just family in that room. There was legal counsel as well, and I feel that Pence came prepared with his legal counsel. So in other words, they are... It's something to do with the White House here and getting them out of the White House. It has the potential to do that. Something that went on, I feel, around the transition and around the inauguration. Okay, so are they trying to cover this up? Okay, are they trying to cover this up? Actually, no. First I'm going to ask, was this a subpoena? Was this piece of information that they received a call for more information, more evidence? Could it lead to a subpoena? What was this piece of evidence here? Was it a subpoena? Or could it lead to a subpoena? Justice, yes, it could. Something that could go before the courts. Ooh, information and the truth coming out here. Yes, it's to do with money. It's giving and receiving, how money might have been allocated. It's also debt, financials, right, okay. And the Knight of Wands coming up all the time now. This is the inspired action, I feel, of lawmakers and investigators. They're getting ready to move forward here. And this is juggling Trump and the Trump White House and Pence trying to juggle. What are they trying to juggle? Okay, who they were supported by, and again, what's showing on the bottom of the deck is justice. Okay, one more question. So, was it a subpoena? It was. I think it was a piece of information that was required to be handed over. A financial record that was required to be handed over. I do feel broader than just his just his financial tax returns, etc. This is financial news. This is the money trail. I feel it was a request for some information. Okay. Let's have a look. Let's give the cards a shuffle and ask, are they going to try and cover it up or stall? I'm getting that they're going to try and stall. Okay, so, and Pence has a role in helping them. Okay, are they going to try and cover this up or obstruct it in some way? Cook the books even, perhaps, according to my impressions. I don't know, I'm just asking the questions. All right, so are they going to try and cover this up in some way, manage it? Oh, excuse me. All right, whatever it is extremely, it's causing them extreme anxiety. So let's have a look. What are they trying to cover? Oh, okay, yes, they are. This is an abuse of power here with this Five of Swords. It is a plan that they will put in place now, which will be achieved in the longer term. This is a waiting for results type card, so it could be they're playing for time. It has to do with the Trump. Well, this is the smug merchant here, but this has to do with the Trump prior to becoming president. What's on the bottom of the deck is this Ace of Cups here, suggesting that again it's we've got anxiety, we've got the Ace of Cups, but it could also lead to new starts here. So quite a significant piece of information. Feel it was something that was received, a request for more information, calling Pence back to get stories straight. Also, he was involved in some way. What could that be? Could be the inauguration investigation. It may have been SDNY. It could have been the congressional investigation as well. And including into the transition, that transition team there. It's got to do with money and debt, potentially debt, appropriation. Okay, well, that's my feelings on it. Let's see what's likely to come out, because according to these cards, it's actually going to make the public domain. Perhaps not immediately, but in time. It's something that they can't hold back. And it's causing them a great deal of grief and anxiety. So just a quick reading on that today, because I felt that people were really wanting to know. So we've got all these, same day, same day, different nonsense, really. We've got, the threat of war with Iran. We've got his disastrous foreign policy. We've got trade wars, which are leading to a worldwide, or could lead to a worldwide recession. And of course, we've got business as usual in the White House, where things where they're trying to play for time, where they're trying to, obstruct the course of justice. Or these are my impressions through my tarot readings. So yeah, business as usual, I feel, for the Trump White House today. Okay, thank you.